Okay, welcome back everybody. We are starting up the NA games with Melee Creeps versus Bird with Clock. Melee Creeps were knocked out of their champion position last week, and I assume they are eager to get back into it, so we'll start off by going over the bans and picks. Melee Creeps ban out Doorman, Bird with Clock ban out Mirage, and Melee Creeps first pick Pocket. Now, I personally think that Pocket has been overvalued in the pro scene a bit. It's not that Pocket's weak, it's that Pocket is not as strong as they've been putting them out to be, right? But that's not saying that Pocket can't win or anything, and Pocket's got a great toolkit, and Melee Creeps has a good Pocket player, so by all rights, they should be able to make Pocket look good. We'll see how it works for them this time around. Last Pocket that we saw crashed and burned pretty hard, so good luck to them here. Bird with Clock, pick up Calico and Lash. So Calico keeps getting banned in the second phase, and teams tend to, well, defer her until that point, at least in the EU side of things. We're seeing more priority given to the cat lady here over on NA. Lash has been rising in priority with the more gun-focused build, and the more gun-focused build continues to just be consistently pretty darn good. So, not too surprising that Lash is making his way higher onto the tier list of picks, and Melee Creeps counter with Billy and Venator. So I do want to point out one thing. There was a patch between the EU scene and the NA scene. Billy has been nerfed a little bit here. In fact, there were changes to several different heroes, Billy being the only hero on this list that's been picked so far, at least, that got any changes to him. He has been nerfed in a couple ways, and his Tier 3 upgrade to Rising Ram is no longer deals 7% max HP damage to the opponent, but instead, if he hits an opponent, he is going to increase his own max HP by 10%. It'll be interesting to see whether that is a good thing or a bad thing for him, because without that max HP damage, Billy's damage output does take a significant hit toward the later game, but his tank ability should kind of just go through the roof with 10% more HP on demand. Now, continuing on, Venator picked up for the carry on Melee Creeps. Bird with Clock grabbed Bebop, another kind of pick-off hero that can work in concert with both the Lash and the Calico. Bird with Clock banned out Holiday, and Melee Creeps banned out Abrams, taking out the second best tank, at least the agreed upon second best tank in the game. Apollo picked up for Bird with Clock, Mina picked up for Melee Creeps, and Viscus also picked up for Melee Creeps. Right now, I think Melee Creeps definitely have the better draft, and Viscus is a really great pickup against literally every hero that Bird with Clock have on the enemy team. So far, a lot of these heroes rely on getting a burst damage hit off, and if Viscus is timing the cube well to evade some of that for an ally, that is a big blow to Bird with Clock's damage output, which is why I like Viscus here. Lady Geist picked up as the scaling main gun carry for the ultra late game for Bird with Clock. Lash is more of like an early to mid game, and as long as his game goes well, he does scale decently into the late game, but Geist is going to be the big scaler. And they take Shiv as their final pick. Shiv, a hero that I said before we're not seeing as much of at the moment, just because Shiv is just keeps getting nerfed and changed, and he's kind of hard to make work compared to what he was before. But Bird with Clock needed someone that can like start a fight and go in the front lines, and Shiv, I guess, is the pick that they went for there. Not my favorite pick for that. Shiv is best when he's paired with someone else to run on the front lines with, and Geist kind of fits that. She is a tanky carry, but she's not really a go in and soak up damage hero and start team fights the way that a Billy is, or an Abrams is, or a Victor can be, or even a Moe and Krill can be, technically. So without Shiv having a partner to go in with him, other than maybe Geist, it could be a difficult ask for him, and there's not much in the way of support on Bird with Clock either. Meanwhile, melee creeps have grabbed 2 supports for themselves, Viscus and Ivy. Now, Ivy or Viscus might not be played as a support. We have seen melee creeps in the past choose to play one of these heroes as more of either a burst damage hero in the case of Viscus or a gun carry in the case of Ivy. And we'll see what they choose to do. But at least for the time being, I think that melee creeps having that extra supportive factor for their team is going to be very important for them, because Bird with Clock have a lot of upfront damage, and their sustained damage is going to take a little bit to get there. And that upfront damage can be countered through the Viscus Cube and can be mitigated through Ivy's various utility items that she will build, and we'll see how well it works out for them. Let me get us ready to hop into the game in just a second. All right, everybody. Welcome to game 1 of this best of 1 between Melee Creeps and BWC, Bird with Clock, to figure out who will be going to the finals match tonight in the NA scene. As always, let's take a look at our lanes. We've got a Bebop Geist lane facing off against an Ivy and a Venator. Without hitting hooks, I think Ivy Venator are going to be just fine in this lane. But if Bebop hits a good hook onto Venator, then that could easily turn things in the favor of the Bebop and the Geist. I don't think that either side is particularly, like, favored by too much. And it's going to come down a bit to execution. That being said, it's a little easier for Bebop and Geist to just have a little easier for the Ivy and Venator to have an easy lane, because Ivy provides that extra support for the lane. Moving on, let's take a look at the right map, or the left map over here, with Billy being sent home early at the 2-minute mark, with her ally, or the allied Mina, not being able to, I guess, provide the same amount of pressure that the enemy team is. We have Apollo and Shiv put together, and I think this is a pretty dangerous lane. Apollo has a ton of sustained, I guess it's kind of bursty. I don't know. It's because there are 3 thrusts in the Flawless Advance that it's a little bit of sustained spirit damage. Venator brought very low over in the mid lane. A dive in by the Geist isn't going to get the kill, and Venator survives on 20 HP, getting the first blood for Ivy. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, there is a trade over here. Mina for the Apollo. So while I was looking at this lane, the other lanes decide to get active. And over here we have Viscus and Pocket facing off against Calico and Lash. And Pocket's gonna go down here. That was a weird decision to jump out like that. Now, I think that Calico Lash have tons of burst damage. This is a scary amount of burst damage that can pop out of nowhere. Fast bursts, but there is, of course, the cube available. And with a well-timed cube or a well-timed satchel from Pocket, they can dodge a lot of that damage and heal back up pretty well. Shiv getting chased. Health going low. Shiv taken down by the rotation of the Ivy. And with the Lady Geist coming through, I think that's a dead Mina. Yes, it is. Will Geist get back to safety? I think she's fine. So a couple quick rotations come out. And game not really taken a big advantage for either side. It looks like they've actually done a lane swap. Ivy has swapped over here to play with Billy in this lane against the Apollo in the Shiv, and mid lane instead is going to be Venator and Mina. That side lane wasn't going too well for them, so they just decided to swap it out. Calico made her way over to the mid lane. Venator brought down very low. Billy killed, and Venator just runs into the bomb. That's twice now that players on melee creeps have just kind of walked out into their own doom. Surprisingly enough.
Let's take out Geist.
Dive onto the Ivy, but with Venator coming through, hitting the gutshot stun, that's a dead Shiv. Perhaps that dive was a little early, and actually, Ira Domini popped as well. Apollo getting chased down by both of these ultimates. They missed him. He's behind them. Oh, but it is... Ira Domini lasts so long. He's got such a long time to be able to blast out that crossbow shot. And the bolt takes down the demon. Calico diving in, getting the parry onto the tower, and going further in. Lash with the ultimate pulls the Viscous back. There is no cube available for him right now, and that is a dead goo man. Viscous had already popped the cube. That's why they jumped in so aggressively like that. Mina. All right, first Guardian did go down in favor of the Geist Bebop lane. Flawless advance after the stun. Plenty of damage going into Venator, but not nearly enough. More damage goes into the Apollo instead, and with no spells available, he goes down. Venator being chased down eventually bleeds out to Shiv, but Shiv is killed in return. A 2-for-1 in favor of melee creeps, and they're going to take this Guardian down as well. Still, a bit of an early lead for BWC. At the moment, they have just a 2K advantage. Geist takes a lot of damage, knocks Nostra from over top, not going to be able to finish Geist off, but the goo ball does finish, or help set Geist up for the finish off. Oh my god, Apollo damage. Half of her health gone in an instant on Mina. Apollo chasing. Still chasing. What is this aim? I have better aim than that, and I suck. I gotta point that out. Apollo was aiming at the wall instead of the hero. Maybe it's like some latency for the viewer, but no, Mina wasn't taking damage. I don't know what Apollo was aiming at, but it wasn't Mina. That's for sure.
I see Bebop.
BWC have brought 4 heroes over to this left lane Guardian, and they will be taking that. Geist, seconds away from her ultimate coming back up, not able to survive long enough to get it. She is taken down. Oh, it's gonna be an aggressive Viscous instead of a supportive Viscous, so Splatter being maxed first is common, even on a support Viscous, but usually after that, if you're playing supportive, that's when you go for the cube next. But instead, this Viscus is going to be an aggro hero. And we've seen melee creeps do this before. They like their aggro Viscus. It's not like he's bad. He's pretty... I mean, he's good. He's solid. Shiv is dead. He's gonna die. Aggro Viscus doing work. But, Billy taken down as well. And flawless advance. Is Apollo gonna kill the Mina? No, once more, Apollo is left to his aim, and unfortunately, his gun is not very strong in the first place. Meanwhile, Lash got a kill onto Pocket. No ultimate necessary. There's a Bebop rolling with him. I'm pretty sure I know what happened. Hook into a slowing hex. All right, we've got the first urn of the game being grabbed by Calico and run by the side of BWC.
I see the Venator.
You do have a plan, yes?
Wow, Geist just killed. They're gonna trade the urn for Walker pressure. And considering Venator and Ivy are both here, more than likely this Walker's going down. And Billy was making his way over to contest, but he was caught by the Apollo and the Shiv in the area. Or, I'm sorry, Apollo and Shiv were going there to contest, and they found Billy. Billy, bleeding, blasted. 2 blades worth of bleed on him. He's fine still. And meanwhile, Lash finds another kill onto Pocket. What's going on? I said melee creeps have a good Pocket player. I'm being proven entirely wrong right now. Pocket is the hero struggling the most on the game right now. Only a 7.6k net worth on the Pocket. Oh, I'm sorry, Shiv is 7.5k, so I guess Shiv is doing slightly worse. But that's not usually what we're expecting to see out of Pocket. You know, this out of Pocket, tee. This is a hero that is routinely first banned because it is strong. So for Pocket to currently be 0-3-0 is not expected.
Headed to Broadway.
Chase by the Shiv onto Billy, hitting knife after knife after knife. Billy is gonna bleed quite a lot here, but he's pretty tanky. So it'll be fine at the end of the day. Shiv is getting chased down by Viscus at the moment. Dashes away, he'll be fine. Rift opens on the right side of the map. Shiv's gonna reset and potentially head over there to help out with it. Calico jumps in, gets a little bit of burst damage onto the Billy, but Billy's gonna be happy to fight.
Let's take out.
The goat's pretty scary, and he's gonna get ulted away by the Ivy. Ivy delivering the Billy goat over into the area for a big fight contest. Billy diving in, stunned out by the Apollo, hooked by the Bebop, and he's gonna pop the chain gang on the Bebop, hooked again into the tower, gets a good parry onto the tower, but he is now brought incredibly low. Itanilo-san will execute the Billy goat. Hyper beam over the top, trying to dissuade things. A great use of the goo ball and the fist in order for the Viscus to knock him out of the hyper beam. A ton of damage onto the Calico, but it's looking a little bit in favor of Bird with Clock for the time being. They're holding on to the area. Viscus taken down, Calico traded. Bomb latched on Hook. The bomb is going to be dodged by the stone form of Ivy, but Ivy is going to be chased down by these two heroes. Pocket comes in here to contest the zone. Apollo dodging the cape, gonna explode on the satchel and the cold front. The Pocket ultimate comes down. It's gonna set up the kill onto the Geist. The follow-up from the Mina is good, and it looks like nobody gets the rift. It is contested for too long, and a follow-up from the Mina trying to finish off this Shiv, but he is gonna be fine to fall back. A big fight with no discernible winner. A very even team fight between both sides. The rift not even able to get opened because both teams contested it for too long. Or are we not seeing, we are seeing, never mind. 2 points in Ava. Still looks a bit slow. Oh, because you have Trophy Collector with only a couple stacks right now. That's why it looks a little slow. Lash, taken down on the right side of the map. Sorry, I was looking at the kitty cat. Viscus finds Apollo, knocks out half of his HP very quickly. Wait a second. Ivy's going gun carry as well. Neither Ivy nor Viscus are going for a support build. Huh. That's... Huh. That's unexpected. I assumed one of them would go for support build and the other would pivot into a more aggressive carry-ish style build, but instead both of them are just like, nah, I want to carry. Gah, that's a pretty good amount of damage. Apollo, half his health gone in an instant by the burst of the Bebop and the setup for the hook. He's actually going to be able to sigil his way out of there. And Apollo's going to be okay. He's going to get out. The mobility of that hero cannot be understated. Life drain. Gonna suck 50% of Ivy's health away. That good suck. Billy with the chain gang pulling Apollo in. Gonna instantly pop the repost in order to avoid some of that damage. Flawless advance. Big damage onto the Villy. Itani Losan available to execute him if necessary. I don't think it's gonna be necessary. The exploding sigil finishes the job. And the rest of the team is able to take Ivy out. And this looks like a rotation into mid-boss from them. All right, it's already half health. Let's get a nice bird's eye view of what might happen. Mina gives them a little bit of tickle and then immediately drops back out. Rejuvenator dropping down. Nobody's anywhere near it. Lash pops the ultimate, pulls down one hero. All three of these are going to be taken by Bird with Clock. Shiv's gonna bleed out and die to this. Affliction, Shiv's the only hero in the game that can die to it. Oh, just barely, actually. Surprisingly alive. I thought they'd be only at one singular Rejuvenator, but nope. Venator taken down. Hyper Beam over the top to clear the wave and pressure the enemies back even further, and Bird with Clock looking pretty good, but despite taking that mid-boss, still only a mere 2 to 3k lead. Jeez, that's a lot of burst damage coming out of the Viscus. All right, Bird with Clock fall back to their jungle and reset their health bars, stuff like that, grab their Sinner Sacrifices, making sure that they get their farm available for themselves, and we see Lash going with kind of the cookie cutter build that we've been seeing. Queuing up this Siphon Bullets is the next one, which really brings up the amount of tankiness of Lash on top of giving him a fair bit of extra weapon damage. So this is going to turn Lash into a very strong hero on the map once he finishes that Siphon Bullets in the next couple minutes. Around the 20-minute mark, I expect him to be pretty close. I see Ivy flying... Never mind, I see Ivy and Viscus just moving very quickly over to this side of the map in order to slow down the push from the Geist. And the Apollo. Shiv brought pretty low over here. Apollo and Geist getting chased, but they're not able to really follow them too easily. Apollo's just so mobile. Disengaging Sigil hits both of these heroes. All three. Itani Losan dodged on the side of the Ivy, but not dodged on the side of the Venator, who is now brought very low. ultimate goo ball. This is not where you want to fight against Viscous. The goo ball rolling back and forth inside of this small corridor, stun after stun, damage after damage piling up. Venator brought extremely low. Will he get out? 10 HP. Apollo also trying to get out on a sliver of HP, and both heroes somehow make it out. Apollo eventually hunted down by the Viscous, though. Meanwhile, over here, a massive Lash ultimate latches on to 3 heroes, and it looks like the Pocket easily taken down. This Walker should not be long for this world either, with all of these heroes on the side of BWC. In the area, Geist brought extremely low. They're trying to finish her off, but the chase down from the rest of the heroes is good as the melee creeps finish off Venator and Ivy. Once more, Geist survives with barely any HP. I like how Shiv's ultimate is no longer used to, like, kill people. It's just used for mobility. He just popped it for mobility there.
Broadway. I can't help but notice you haven't dropped me off yet. This little ritual of yours is really messing.
When did they make TF2 third person? Deadlock's about 2 years old now.
Billy's missing.
Been around for a couple years at this point. In a closed or open beta state, I guess. Semi-closed? I don't know what you would call it, honestly. All right, Earn grabbed and taken by BWC, and we're looking at a 22k net worth lead for their team now. And the pressure is really starting to mount onto melee creeps, and once more, we see this Pocket hero not performing very well. In fact, 1-6-3, Pocket is doing terribly. And this is what happened in the last Pocket game we saw. Pocket doing terribly. I think this hero's strength has been greatly overstated. I also think that melee creeps are not playing at their particular best. They're having a bit of an off game right now. They're doing a lot worse than I expect from them, so there's that as well. But still, as I was saying, Pocket has been, like, the banned hero for, like, 3 months. And here we are seeing Pocket just not pull their weight. A bit of a lull in the action right now as we wait for the next objective respawn. Coming up at 25 minutes, we're going to have the Urn and the Rift, both at about the same time. Until then, we'll see maybe a team will look for a pickoff, and we actually have an airdrop coming through. Bebop, you have been sighted. And that's a lot of burst damage. Already Bebop half killed. The goo ball is going to be not quite enough to finish the Bebop. He's just barely alive, but he eventually gets taken down. Goo Ball continuing to bounce around. Here comes the Mina ultimate, knocks Nostra over the top, dealing a fairly large amount of damage, but Mina has to Sanguine retreat and float herself out of there. It's a good fight for melee creeps right now. Now it's looking a little bit questionable. 3 for 2, still in favor of melee creeps, but this Lash is untouched, basically. Taking down Billy as well. Following on to Mina, he is not going to stop following. You're not going to escape him. Not easily, at least. Luckily for them, both Mina and Viscous had their mobility spells come back off cooldown. It was looking like a pretty good fight for melee creeps, but they are just so far behind that the item disadvantage is rearing its ugly head, and this Lash is able to stick in the fight the whole time and just not even take a lick of damage by the end of it, and once more, Pocket is dead. Ivy will be next to fall. They will chase down the gargoyle, no problem. Cube used to avoid some damage, and it's not going to be enough. The explosion from the bomb finishes off the Viscous. Bebop gets a nice parry. I think that melee creeps are crumbling. They're having the most difficult time trying to take these fights, and other than Mina, who's doing all right, everyone is struggling on the side of melee creeps. She goes through and does some good damage to them. Nox Nostra is nice and all. If anything, she's just helping them kill the mid-boss. They're like, hide behind mid-boss, she'll help us kill it. And the Lash ultimate, she does get one revival. But it's not gonna help her very much. Sanguine Retreat. Maybe? Nope. Okay. I didn't think so. All right, 2 Rejuvenators available on the side of BWC. And... well, this lead is getting out of control. It is nearly a 30k lead at this point. Lash is about to pick up another huge weapon. He has 6,400. He can buy anything he wants from the shop right now. I'm expecting either Unstoppable or Crippling Headshot. He takes the Unstoppable. And I think that is a very good pickup, especially against heroes like Billy. Billy likes to be able to lock Lash down with the Chain Gang. That can't happen anymore.
Ivy's missing.
Ern has been grabbed by Bebop. Just running it around right now. Ivy flying her ally over, dropping the Venator off, or the Billy off even. Potentially. They're technically contesting this rift. Let's see how things go. I think everyone is here to contest this, and that means that it's going to be dangerous for melee creeps. They do get the rift for themselves, but the ensuing fight could be dangerous. The goo ball flies around. The Bebop takes a fairly large amount of damage, but it's not enough for it to matter. Lash dealing a great deal of damage. The cube is enough to keep Billy alive for now, but he's eventually going to get chased down by the Geist, and the Lash finishes him off. Back over here, we have the Apollo trying to keep his himself from getting chased down, and he is able to mobility himself back to safety. Venator hit by the Lash's knockup, getting chased down by the Lash, and the Lash is the most farmed hero in the game. Venator finished off. Some damage comes out from Pocket, but Pocket has not been playing well this game. And down goes the Pocket once more. BWC looking like they've got this one in the bag. It's going to take a bit of a miracle on the side of melee creeps to turn this around. And I don't know if they've got a bag full of miracles on their side right now. All right, first shrine being taken down summarily. They're going to back off to this base guardian in the middle and I guess settle for one shrine and one base guardian. Remember, when you take the base guardians, it increases the speed of your zip line for the rest of the game, which is good not only for repositioning your heroes, but for your troopers to keep the push as aggressively as possible. Oh, they found themselves a Bebop pickoff. Good for them. Goo Ball rolling on through. Doesn't look like they're going to get anything else. Hey, Pocket, what's your score line? 2, 8, and 5. Yeah, that's not too good. That's an oof. All right, we're once more at a little bit of a lull in the action. It's going to be another couple of minutes until mid-boss spawns. I believe Ern will spawn before the next mid-boss, so that'll probably be our next point of contention. or it'll be just one of the teams letting it go for free. I'd say at this point in time, melee creeps have got a very uphill battle, and more than likely will just give up the urn, but I mean, it'll remain to be seen. Riposte. Very well done. Stuns out, but there's too many heroes. Apollo beaten down. He wasn't expecting the entire team to show up behind Mina there. All right, the urn is available, and with Apollo currently dead, melee creeps have got some priority on it. That 30k net worth disadvantage is completely covered by Apollo being dead. BWC are posturing in the area, so they look like they want to contest this. They're going to find two heroes, Viscus and Mina, very quickly. They're not anywhere near the rest of their team. Mina is taken down. Viscus tries to ball himself out of there, but he's going to get ripped back by Lash, and BWC find two heroes just out of position. Nowhere near the rest of their team. Melee creeps are punished for this mistake. And now what should have been a free urn for them is a big question mark. All right, a fight comes through. Billy is probably dead here. Yes, very dead here. In fact, I don't know what melee creeps were thinking there. Venator also gonna die. Ivy gonna die. The urn's gonna get taken by BWC. Why did they do that? They're not even gonna take the urn. They're gonna take mid-boss, and they're gonna pressure the base as well. So they're gonna take this shrine, and then head back and finish off mid-boss. Ow, Mina hurts. Mina hurts a lot, jeez. All right, Calico and Apollo have taken the mid-boss. Final Shrine was taken down by the other members of BWC. And the first half of their Ancient taken down. Or Ancient. Patron. It's Patron in this game. This is defense of the patrons, not defense of the ancient, silly.
Let's push yellow.
40,000 net worth lead on the side of BWC. They've got all three of their rejuvenators. They're just taking the time to clear out the jungle, steal what they can from the enemy side of the map, and a great hook onto Mina. Not expecting the Bebop to hook her out off of that rooftop. With Mina in the grave, I think BWC are ready to clean this game out and finish it off. They're pressuring from all three lanes, coming through. Huge ultimate from Lash only hits the Venator, but that's all they need to hit, I think. All right, the cube keeps Venator alive for now, but no, too many heroes in the area. Venator will go down, and it's all over but the Cryin'. The Patron is falling at an extreme rate. The Goo Ball's bouncing around and doing some good work, but it's just not enough heroes available for them. They have to kill 9 heroes to not die here. Pocket's about to die, and it's over. BWC winning the best of 1, and they will be heading to the championship match best of 3. And melee creeps not at all able to, they're not even able to contest for their to reclaim their throne. They're just not measuring up to what they needed to. If we take a look at the graph, Melee Creeps had a slight lead, 5k lead for a short period of time, but otherwise it was Bird with Clock ahead for most of the game. Yeah, I think that was a small team fight skirmish followed by an objective take here at the 15-minute mark, or 13-minute mark, even. Funny enough, the Viscous did the most damage on the side of Melee Creeps, but, I don't know, I'm not sold on the aggressive Viscous pick and build. I think Viscous is so extremely good as a support. He's got the best save in the entire game with the cube and any sort of follow-up like a rescue beam, for example. I don't know. It seems kind of like a questionable choice. The Viscous is a very good player, as shown by how much work he did in that match, but I feel like Viscous just does better as a support. Now, that being said, they also did a aggressive build early game with Ivy, and were setting up Ivy for a gun carry, and then pivoted to support as they started getting beaten in team fights, but I'm not the biggest fan of Ivy support in the first place. I think that there are better supports than Ivy, so like, the lineup of Melee Creeps wasn't my favorite with how they decided to build their heroes and who they chose to give farm priority to was also a little questionable. But this is yet another game where Pocket is picked early and Pocket loses. I feel like Pocket just has not the best win rate in these pro games at the moment, and has been overvalued for a while. Meanwhile, we see the rise of Lash to a first round pick priority, and this more gun-focused build is absolutely just legit as can be. It makes him extremely beefy. It makes him able to chase people down very well. It does rather solid, consistent damage. And we keep seeing Lash getting picked up like this. It's nice to see that Lash has a build that works. It's a little unfortunate that's a gun build, because I think that Lash is, like, very fun to move around and use the spells on. But the spells are being treated more as just a vehicle for his gun to move around with, basically. And the ultimate to reposition an enemy hero, given the opportunity. But yeah, this was a game where I feel like Melee Creeps were not playing their best. We saw a lot of misplays. We saw a lot of mistakes. We saw weird positioning decisions, like when they had Mina and Viscous scouting half of the map away from their entire team, and the entire enemy team just caught them in the urn contest area, which is where everyone was heading because the urn was being run. And they got picked off before a potential contest of the urn. And then there was no contest. It was just... and then, rather than it being no contest, they decided to contest while down 2 heroes, and they wound up losing everyone, and the urn, and the mid-boss, and the game in that order. It was a lot of questionable decision-making out of Melee Creeps, poor positioning, and they just did not seem to be on their A game today. That's for sure.